Hey, it's your friend Choice CJ here, and this is our Week 2 team builder for the UBC, the United Battle Championship. We are, of course, the coach of the Baltimore Oriolus, and this week we are taking on Gamer Mario, coach of the Celadon City Celebis. He's got a really cool channel. Go ahead and check it out. I'll be leaving a link down in the description. Let's quickly look at his team. He has Cresselia, Clefable, Mega Sableye, Hitmonlee, no, not Hitmonlee, Hitmontop. That one. Hard to keep them straight sometimes. Tentacruel, Tornadus I, Superior, Diggersby, Electivire, Archeops, and Moltres. Now, quick backstory on this team. Mario did not draft this team. It was drafted by my good friend Kahona, who we faced in UBC Season 2, but he had to dip out for some personal reasons. So, glad that everything is now good with you, Kahona. Kahona might end up joining back later in the season if we have a coach who drops, but, you know, I'm not trying to get him to commit to anything or anything like that. But if his schedule permits, maybe that'll happen. But in the meantime, we are facing down Mario, who inherited Kahona's team, and Kahona had a very clear draft strategy going into Season 3 here. He wanted all that bulk. He has such a filthy, filthy core between Cresselia, Clefable, and Sableye. It is just, ugh. That's really all that there is to say about it. And I know I don't have much room to talk. When you look at my PMC team with Mega Sableye and Skarmory, you probably have the same sort of reaction. But it's just pretty tough to take down. And he's got a good number of support mons as well. You know, Hitmontop, Tentacruel, Archeops are all really nice for utility. And then he's got some decent offense. Diggersby is a huge threat. Superior is a huge threat. Tornadus I think is really underrated. And Electivire, it's not something that I've ever thought like too highly of, but you know, the fact of the matter is it does have pretty good mixed attacking stats, and it is electric type that gets Volt Switch that is very hard to deal with. So we've brought a team, and I think it's going to put in a lot of work. It's a little bit different than our team last week. I think last week our team was more focused on it was more balanced, but this I think is a little bit more offensive. We do still have some mons like Amoonguss and Bronzong, as you can see. So let's just go ahead and hop on into it. We are going to start out with a Mega Lopunny with Baton Pass, Power Up Punch, Return, and High Jump Kick. Now, the EV spread is enough to outspeed Electivire before Mega Evolution, and it does outspeed, I think, Scarf Diggersby after Mega Evolution, one of those things. I'm pretty sure that's what it was. We have Baton Pass, Power Up Punch, Return, High Jump Kick. I think I might have said that. If I didn't, then there it is. So Baton Pass, because most of the time I'm anticipating him wanting to switch Cresselia into this thing, because Cresselia is his best counter to it. And that allowed me to move into something like Sneasel that has an ability to really hurt his Cresselia with knockoff. And then if we're in a position later in the game where we can potentially get off a power-up punch, like maybe we're in front of a weakened Sableye, something like that, we go for power-up punch. This thing can win on its own, or it can baton pass into something like Haxorus or Sneasel. So I think it's going to be pretty fun to try and use this. Haven't brought a fake-out set yet this season, but it is only week 2, so there's plenty of time left to come. We also have Gale Thunder, Knockoff, Icicle Crash, Ice Shard, Poison Jab. This EV spread outspeeds, I'm pretty sure it outspeeds Superior. Actually, no, I don't think it does. Yeah, I think we screwed that one up. It's just enough for Tornadus. So we have to get to 357, I think. Let's do this live, fellas. 252 plus. Yes, we need to get to 358. So why did I... Well, anyway. Glad I caught it now. We need to get a little bit more speed on this thing. 358, 16, because that's going to do a lot. But anyway, knockoff, like, Sneasel's just very good against his team. Like, he has a lot of flying types, and a lot of... He's got Diggersby as a ground type, and he's got the Cresselia, which doesn't appreciate the knockoff. I'm not putting Pursuit on this thing because we just don't do a lot of damage to it with Cresselia, or to the Cresselia. And, you know, maybe he's packing Colbur Berry or something like that. I'd rather just make like the more aggressive play and go for knockoff. Moonblast doesn't kill Sneasel, but we'll see. Icicle Crest and Ice Shard, as I said, because Ice coverage is really good against his team, and Poison Jab just for Clefable. It doesn't really OHKO or anything like that. We just don't really, Steel's not really strong enough for that. But if he's at like 40%, we click that, and we are feeling pretty good about it. Next up, we've got Bahamut, Choice Scarf with Outrage, Dragon Claw, Poison Jab, and Swords Dance. Now, this might seem kind of goofy having Swords Dance with Choice Scarf, but there's really no other coverage that I really wanted. Maybe I'll like regret that and wish that I had Earthquake for Tentacruel or something like that. But truthfully, if we can get rid of Clefable, we have no reason to do anything but spam Outrage. Outrage is base 180 after applying Stab, and Earthquake does like 200 base. It has 200 base power after you apply Stab. So I don't think we're really gonna miss it. If he somehow like has knockoff on Sableye or something like that, knockoff on Digger's Bee, knockoff on Tentacruel. I thought it'd be cheeky to have the Swords Dance. But otherwise, we outspeed his entire team with this thing. We do outspeed Electivire with the EV spread that we have. We've gone Jolly instead of Adamant, unfortunately. But I think if we can pass a +1 into this thing, it's just going to be a monster. And that's something that I'm really looking forward to having the opportunity to do in this game. Next up, we have Disco Biscuit with Spore, Clear Smog, Sludge Bomb, Giga Drain. This thing should wall Clefable quite well, even if it has Flamethrower, because obviously we have Clear Smog, and Spore is really good against his team. His only switch into it is Superior, but Superior doesn't really 1v1 Amoonguss at all, because we have Sludge Bomb, we have Clear Smog, and stuff like that. So that'll also be taking on that Mon. It doesn't really take on Cresselia, but getting an opportunity to get off a Spore would be really great. He could have Substitute, and that would be really filthy, but we'll just have to worry about that when the time comes. Next up, we've got Benjamin, which with Stealth Rocks, Toxic, Heavy Slam, and Earthquake. This also takes on Clefable. It also kind of doesn't really take on Superior, but you can take one Leaf Storm if needed. And his Cresselia can't really do anything to us either. We can Toxic it. We put enough speed or defense investment into this thing that we are not OHKO'd by Digger's Bee knockoff, or Digger's Bee's knockoff after Stealth Rock. This is just a good Mon to have, and also, obviously I wanted Stealth Rock for his team. We might not end up clicking it because he does have the Sableye, but we'll have to kind of play that by ear and see what happens. So it's just a good wall against his team. It can do some stuff to Tornadus if it's not packing Heat Wave, and Tentacruel, it can burn us, but that's about it. And then last but not least, we have a Choice Specs, Gardevoir, Moonblast, Psyshock, Shadow Ball, Destiny Bond. Enough speed to outspeed, what was it? It's Digger's Bee, Jolly Digger's Bee. He just doesn't have a good Fairy Resist. He has Tentacruel, but obviously we kill that with Psyshock. So that's pretty nice. Shadow Ball I put on there just to do some extra damage to Cresselia. And Destiny Bond, because I didn't have anything better, it's going to be a good emergency button for something like a +6 Cresselia or +6 Clefable. And Trace is actually really nice because we can trace a Magic Bounce from a Sableye. We can trace Contrary, which would be really funny. Like, what if he goes for a move that gets a special defense drop, but it turns into a special defense increase? We can come in on Electivire if it's going to be clicking Volt Switch, and we can get either a special attack increase or a speed increase. Both of those would be really excellent, because he doesn't really have a lot of Mons that outspeed on his team. Like, obviously he has like Superior and Tornadus that he can use to outspeed us, but otherwise, like, this Gardevoir just is a tremendous wall breaker versus him. And that's pretty much all I was thinking here, just something to blow up his team. And yeah, so that's the team, you guys. We still haven't brought Hippowdon or Stoutland to UBC yet this season, but don't worry, we'll be getting a chance to see them later on. No doubt about it. I feel good about this matchup. As annoying as the Celebis team is, it does have some synergy issues, I think. Not having a Steel type is very detrimental. I think if he could just get one Steel type, his team would be tremendously better, because he just doesn't have a good resist for Fairy or Dragon. But otherwise, it's very good, and I am looking forward to battling it. So that is it, you guys. Thanks for tuning in. Please be sure to check back for more Pokemon content. And until the next time, I will see you guys later.